Inside Out is a film about emotions and memories. It's about how our brains work and how we can control our emotions and grow up. The whole film is asking a series of questions about sadness. What is the usage of sadness? Why should we feel sad? Or simply,
why are you crying?
At the beginning of this story, joy dominates the feelings of Riley. Almost every memory is happy, especially the core memories. On the other hand, sadness cannot be functional at all. She just not get engaged in controlling Riley's feelings, and Joy don't know the usage of sadness.
And you've met Sadness. She... I'm not actually sure what she does. And I've checked, there's no place for her to go.
However, the film shows us that not everything can be solved by happiness. As Riley grows up and moves to San Francisco, Joy isn't the king of her brain anymore. Other emotions like fear and anger start working in an uncontrolled way. Even Joy cannot manage them properly. Nevertheless, Joy just wants to resume her authority and cannot accept those emotions that she thinks is negative, especially sadness, who is a troublemaker in Joy's perspective. Therefore, Joy just tries her best to get rid of sadness. She provides venues for sadness to read. She draws a circle of sadness. However, it doesn't work. It just ultimately makes sadness becomes more annoying and finally makes joy and sadness accidentally emitted from the headquarters. It's actually a natural process, since when you grow up, you will start questioning yourself about everything and you might easily get confused in life's problems. And you may have stress and pressure that make you feel sad, worried, or angry, rather than happy. This is a time that Joy starts to realize that she cannot control everything in Riley's head, particularly when she sees the islands of personality collapse one followed by another. But for sadness, she gradually finds a place for her. When Bing Bang's rocket falls into the memory dump, Joy is just forcing him to be happy.
Hey, who's ticklish, huh? Here comes the tickle monster! Hey, Bing Bong, look at this. Oh, here's a fun game. You point to the train station and we all go there. Won't that be fun? Come on, let's go to the train station.
While sadness can listen to what he says and empathizes him.
It's all I had left of Riley.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful. Once we flew back in time, we had breakfast twice that day.
Sadness.
It sounds amazing. I bet Riley liked it.
Oh, she did. We were best friends.
Yeah, it's sad.
That's very obvious. Joy just wants Bing Bang to be happy, but she cannot understand the reason why he feels sad. Therefore, she cannot comfort him at all. Another example is that Joy wants to wake Riley up by exhilaration and excitement, but it fails. Sadness successfully wakes her up by simply scaring her. In this case, I think it's actually talking about fear. You wake up after a dream always due to being frightened, such as you are going to fall from a high place. It seems to be impossible to wake up when you feel excited in a dream. However, Joy still cannot accept that making Riley sad is not a bad thing. She just thinks sadness is not totally useless. That's the reason why she rejects to travel with sadness in the record tube and makes she falls into the memory dump. Joy was totally frustrated since she thinks that she is not able to make Riley feel happy. However, when she looks back the happy core memory, she finds it was sad at first. Riley feels happy basically because she knows how she feels sad. Imagine if you are always happy, with no sadness. You actually do not know what is happiness since you only have one feeling, and you don't know what happens when you don't feel glad. Consequently, this happiness seems to be meaningless. Also, sadness can motivate people to bring happiness to you. Like when Riley feels sad, her parents and team come to encourage her. It shows that joy and sadness are intertwined with each other and one cannot exist without another. They are alloys. That's what means when Joy says,
Mom and Dad, team, they came to help because of sadness.
Knowing this, Joy immediately brings sadness back to headquarters and lets sadness to control Riley's emotions. And it works. Riley can now express her sadness rather than hiding them. and more importantly, she can accept every feelings and emotions in her life, including sadness. And joy lastly can cooperate with other emotions rather than governing them, as she knows that every emotion has a reason to exist and to be expressed. As Joy herself says,
Say what you want. I think it's all beautiful.
to sum up, the questions above have a very simple answer. It's necessary and essential to be sad, because without sadness, we cannot express our feelings when we face something that hurts ourselves. For example, when you feel extremely painful, we usually cry out rather than laugh. Therefore, sadness is a crucial element for us to express emotions, just like joy. But the most important thing is that we should accept and embrace all the emotions and feelings in our life, regardless they are positive or negative, joyful or sad. That's the first and crucial step to become mentally healthy. It's something quite easy to understand but very difficult to achieve. The reason is that people are not willing to spend time deal with their emotions. They often just ignore them since they have heavy working pressure. This film reminds us that if you just don't face them and cannot accept them, you may feel nothing at the end. Just like when Riley runs out of her home, her emotions are all extruded in her mind, and it results in error of the control panel in headquarters, just like what Fear says.
We can't make Riley feel anything.
Therefore, next time when you feel upset, you can simply think, oh, I'm upset now, I feel awful. Like what sadness in the film is doing.
And we get all cold, shivery, and everything just starts feeling droopy.
That should help you to be more conscious about what you are feeling right here, right now. It's quite explicit that this film wants to emphasize the beautiful side of sadness, but I think it can also apply to the other three emotions. I guess maybe sadness is the emotion that people find it most difficult to address. Anyway, the key concept is that we should achieve a balance of our emotions and accept all of them.